Good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you. My name is Sean Townsend. I'm the director of the Mayor's Office of Nightlife and Culture. I appreciate everybody for being here today. Got a couple thank yous I want to send out to everyone before we get started. Obviously, this could not have been done without the leadership of our amazing mayor, so let's give it up for Mayor Muriel Bowser. Her support for the Office of Nightlife and Culture, as well as the arts and cultural nightlife industries, has been amazing. So definitely want to thank her and appreciate her support. Also, we have Councilmember Brandon Todd from Ward 4. Councilmember Todd introduced the legislation for our office and the commission. So without his introduction of the legislation, I wouldn't be in this position. So thank you, sir. We also have Commissioner Vinoda Bisnaski. He is the chairman of the Commission on Nightlife and Culture. Thank you for being here today. Would like to thank the team involved in putting this nightlife impact study together. Acting Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development, John Falchicchio. Let's give him a hand. And the entire DEMPED staff. I saw Karima Woods in here. Thank you, Karima. Keith Sellers and the Washington, D.C. Economic Partnership, Chad as well. Thank you. John Stover and Associates, Brick and Story, and the Javert Group. Thank you all for putting the hard work in to produce this study. The Mayor's Office of Community Affairs, Director Lamont Akins and his team, thank you. The entire EOM team for their support, as well as our sister agencies, ABRA, DDOT, Health, DC Health, and other agencies that have helped contribute to a lot of the data that we have in this report. So now I'll bring Kathleen Hollinger up, who is the president of the Restaurant Association Metropolitan of Washington, D.C. Thank you.
I got to go a little low, a little shorter. Good afternoon, D.C.
Good afternoon.
I want to first and foremost applaud and thank our fantastic mayor, Mayor Bowser, for her very consistent support of our industry. She listens to us. She understands how unique we are as a food service industry. So we really thank her for that and for her support and advocacy of late night metro service. That is very much needed in our industry where our hours are very different than everyone else's. And for the establishment of the Office of Nightlife and Culture, with a thank you also to Councilmember Todd for introducing legislation on a role that we are truly benefiting from as an industry. So thank you. I want to also quickly thank and commend Director Townsend for spearheading what you will hear more about, this incredible economic impact study, as it really supports so much of what we as an organization advocate for our community of small businesses and restaurateurs and chefs and food service professionals every day. We are a community of 96% independently owned and operated establishments, whether they are restaurants or nightlife establishments, in this market in DC alone, and that is very unique for a market anywhere in the country. We, as a small business community, operate with passion, but also low profit margins. And our most common industry challenges include issues like employee transportation, cost of operating a business, and navigating a very complex regulatory process at times. So to know that we have champions and city leaders who are understanding and with us as we try to navigate some of those complex issues is phenomenal. And again, we thank you for your support and understanding.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And I get to introduce my very good friend and restaurateur, Kamal Ali from Ben's Chili Bowl.
All right.
Thank you.
How are you?
Hello, everybody. I'm Kamal Ben Ali. I'm a lifelong resident of Washington, D.C. I love this great city. Not going anywhere. I also represent Ben's Chili Bowl, our family business. Ben and Virginia Ali. Been there for 61 years serving the community. It's been our great privilege and honor to serve thousands and thousands of D.C. residents, but people from all over the world, and Maryland and Virginia. And this survey is great, but I want to speak from the owner's perspective and let you know that I don't need a survey to know that sales are down. I don't need a survey to tell me my customer experience is down, that my workers' experience is down, and that service in general is down. I've polled myself from my numbers and my friends' numbers, Mark Barnes from the Park, Andy Shalal, Busboys and Poets. We've got lots of guys, Seth Hurwitz from 930 Club, and our sales are down 30% since 2016. These businesses thrive off of the late night traffic of people coming from Maryland and Virginia, as well as the District of Columbia. How are they supposed to get home without Metro? They've been drinking, they've been having a good time, enjoying themselves. They need late night transportation. How do my workers get home? We've had to close our kitchen earlier because the kitchen staff is even, less paid than the wait staff. So we can't depend on the alternating, rates of Uber and Lyft and these types of things that kind of peak at rush hours, peak hours. We need Metro to stay open late night. Sales, service, our guest experience, people coming from Maryland or Virginia, people coming out on the town and say, gosh, I got to cut my evening short at 11:30 to get home. They just don't come, right? This is something that we can all testify as owners. So I just want to lend my support for what the mayor's doing, for what the Office of Nightlife and Culture is doing. And Metro, we need you to stay open. Keep Metro 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 open. All right? It is my great privilege to make the next introduction to a lady that makes running the District of Columbia look easy. To a lady that supports the residents of the District of Columbia, the neighbors of the District of Columbia, neighborhoods, but also the business owners like myself. She's always been a friend of Ben's Chili Bowl and the business community, and we will always support her as well. Most recently, she's also made go-go the official music of D.C., all right? She's helped make Washington a world-class city and an international destination. I'd like to introduce baby Miranda's mom and my good friend, Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I am really excited to see all of you because you are talking about something that's critically important to workers in Washington, D.C. And we love all that our city is about. We love the monuments and memorials, the parks, the rivers, the sports, the great hotels, the food, the culture, but most of all, we love the people. And we can't have any of those things if it's not for good people that come to work every single day to serve us right here in the nation's capital. So let's hear it for D.C. workers. I think you know, and you heard earlier from Sean, who is the director of the Mayor's Office of Nightlife and Culture. Let's give Sean a big round of applause. You will hear from Councilmember Todd, who is our Ward 4 council member. Let's give Councilmember Todd a big round of applause. That the nighttime economy in Washington, D.C. is more than fun, food, and games, now isn't it? What the nighttime economy represents are thousands of people who go to work each and every day and night that earn a good living in Washington, D.C., and that raise their families because of the nighttime economy. Now, you know I like to say, this is not your grandfather's Washington. And it used to be that Washington, D.C. closed down at 5 p.m. And that's just not the case anymore. And not only in the downtown do we stay open later, we stay open later in all 8 wards of Washington, D.C. And that's why it's so important that Metro stays open with us. Because we need to get around safely, and our workers need to get to and from work. And I bet if I ask our workers who are with us, because we know how important it is for them to get back and forth home safely. And we want to thank Unite Here, Local 23, for their attendance. Give them a big round of applause. We want to thank SEIU 32BJ for being here and always being here. And we want to thank UFCW Local 400 that serve us each and every day for being with us as well, and thank them for all that they do. Let me give you a couple of more numbers. $7 billion in annual revenue from our nightlife industry, 65,000 jobs supported by our nightlife energy. These workers help us welcome 20 million visitors to Washington, D.C. each and every year. They staff our hospitals, maintain our offices, keep the lights on in Congress, bring us concerts and theater, and support all of our sports venues as well. These workers are the lifeblood of Washington, D.C., and I assure you, they also live in Maryland and Virginia. So this question is not just a question about should D.C. be able to stay open a little bit later. It's whether this region should support its workers and stay up a little later. Its leaders in Maryland and Virginia should recognize that their workers have been left behind by shortening Metro's hours. Now, we love our Metro, don't we? I can go anywhere in the United States, indeed anywhere in the world, and people tell me how great our system is. It's clean, it's efficient, and it's safe. And it has been important for Metro to focus on making sure the investments in safety have been happening and have been happening efficiently. Now, I thought they could do it and keep the Metro open. I did, and I still do. But they've had several years now to invest in that plan. And I'm very happy to see that the current budget before the Metro Board, as introduced by Paul Wiedefeld, the general manager, includes later hours for Metro to keep Metro open. So now Metro goes around the region to talk about proposed cuts or additions of service. And this proposed addition gets us closer to where we need to be. So as everyone is going out and talking to Metro about Metro late night service, you tell them that this is not about fun, food, and games, because fun, food, and games are important, but we couldn't have any of that without the people to get back and forth to work. This is also about the healthy, vibrant economy for our entire region. This region is competing with regions across the United States of America. And to think that we have hours that, they're just not comparable to world capitals. That's a problem for how we grow our economy. So we are one of the biggest payers for Metro service. We make sure that we make an extra payment to Metro so our kids ride free on Metro. We're making payments to Metro so that Metro can go to the Silver Line can extend further and further into Virginia. So we play our role regionally, and this is an important regional investment. So with that, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let Sean. I'm going to ask Councilmember Todd to come out and talk a little bit more about our nightlife economy. Thank you, Councilmember.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brandon Todd, and I represent Ward 4 in the Council of the District of Columbia. And I'm just thrilled to be here this afternoon at this rally to talk about making sure that our city and region continues to have great metro service. I think it's on full display when we think about, as the mayor and Sean and others said, about how people come to our city for food, nightlife, but there's a very important segment that we have to make sure that we're protecting, and that's the people who allow us all to enjoy our wonderful city, and that's the workers of our city. And I know we'll hear from Director Towson when he talks about the report that his office has released about how important the nighttime economy is to the region, how important it is to the District of Columbia. When I leave here, I'm going to go to WMATA and testify on behalf of the residents of Ward 4 and propose cuts that we will not stand for in Ward 4. And I know that we won't stand for anything less than having late night service for WMATA so that workers can get to and from, so that students can get to and from extracurricular activities. So thank you, Mayor, for your leadership. Thank you, Director Townsend. Thank you to all of our workers. Let's give them a big, big round of applause. And let's make sure we keep Metro open. Thank you, everybody.
Keep Metro open. Thank you. Thank you. So I am going to ask Jeff Meridian to join me, and then we'll take a few press questions. Questions? Yes. So.
From suburban jurisdictions on your proposal to keep Metro open.
Well, Lou, thank you for that question. Lou's question was, have we gotten support from local jurisdictions on our proposal to keep Metro open? So let me be clear. Is the general manager has baked later hours into the proposal that's before the Metro board, in addition to some other suggestions to augment service on rail and on the bus, in addition to some proposals to balance those additional services with streamlining other services that aren't working as efficiently. So that's what's before the board now, and I'm going to ask Jeff to speak to anything else I've missed there.
I think, Mayor, you covered everything. We know that there are residents in our neighboring jurisdictions that are supportive of the general manager's proposal. We've heard that in the testimony at public hearings. We have a public hearing that's happening right now after this, right down the street at WMATA headquarters, where I expect that we'll hear continued support for these late night hours.
You just want to say what exactly is on the table for hours?
Sure. What we're talking about is an extension of hours, 30 minutes for weekday service, an extra hour on the weekends. Worth noting that Mayor Bowser has been the consistent voice and champion for this going forward, not just for what the general manager has proposed, but really for restoring late night hours in general to the entire system. It's a priority for us because we know it means so much to our residents. And we also know, as the mayor said, that it means so much to those residents of neighboring states who are working here during the late night hours.
Questions? Yes.
You're supporting these hours for now, but how late ultimately would you like Metro to stay open? 3 a.m. all night? What would you like to see eventually?
Well, we are talking about, our position has been restoring it to what it was in 2016.
3 a.m. 1 weekend.
Any other questions?
Off topic on coronavirus? Nothing? Sure. Okay. Okay. With the second diagnosis, or with the possible second diagnosis of coronavirus, what are we doing? Sure.
So I asked our Director of Health, LaQuandra Nesbitt, to join us as well for a brief update. And we expect later in the week to talk more as it's necessary.
Thank you, Mayor Bowser. Thank you all for the opportunity to be here today. We do want to make sure that we emphasize that the risk to the population in the United States continues to remain low, and the risk to the residents of the District of Columbia continues to remain low. We continue to coordinate with our partners, some of them here today, HCMA, fire and EMS, and many other partners, including our hospitals, healthcare facilities, and our healthcare providers in the District of Columbia. We are monitoring people who have traveled to countries where there is community spread. We will continue to work with our healthcare providers who believe that they have individuals who are showing signs and symptoms which are consistent with the common cold, consistent with the flu. They can call us at the health department. We will consult with them and determine if individuals need to be tested. We do want to make sure that individuals understand that at this time, again, the risk remains low in the District of Columbia. It is not necessary to have face masks on when you are out and around in the community. It is necessary to practice the same things that we advocate for with the flu, which is stay home when you're sick, to call ahead to your healthcare provider if you believe that you have something consistent with the flu or COVID-19, to work collaboratively with your local public health agency, which in this case would be DC Health. And we have much of this information on our website if people need further guidance.
Yes.
Jay with Fox 5. The CDC was mentioning, for the health expert, that businesses and schools should prepare for the coronavirus. Are there any additional actions that are being taken in the school systems or within DC businesses that are ramping up right now?
It is customary in the public health community for us to have pandemic preparedness plans, which we have here in the District of Columbia. We've had for quite some time. It's not new for us as it relates to COVID-19, and that is what the CDC was communicating yesterday. And that preparedness as it relates to the pandemic extends to not just the healthcare community, but also to businesses and schools. We have for several weeks now been in contact with our business community, with our schools, which includes our universities, so that they understand what is expected of them. Those types of preparedness plans includes what would need to be done in terms of telework, creating learning opportunities so that our community continues to remain active. As the mayor has emphasized today, and for those of you who are used to working with her, she values public health and public safety. She also values keeping DC open. And so part of our preparedness plans ensures that we have the ability to do that.
Hold on 1 second. Anything about travel in and out of our airports you want to add?
Yes. So as we have been working and coordinating with our federal and regional partners, there is a coordinated effort to ensure that individuals are screened at 11 airports. That process still remains in place. As there has been increasing number of cases now in 37 countries, we ask that individuals who are treating healthcare providers or individuals who have traveled to those countries have any questions about their potential exposure, they can reach out to us at DC Health. There has been no change in the risk assessments for individuals outside of those who have traveled to mainland China at this point. If there is a change in the risk assessment for individuals who have traveled to other countries, we will provide that updated guidance as soon as possible.
Yeah, the community question.
Yes, I was wondering if the staying open later for Metro will have an impact on the rate.
Sure. So let me ask Jeff to talk about the proposal if there are any price implications.
Thank you so much for that question. And I would encourage anybody who's got any thoughts about the proposals that are in front of the board to please comment at the public hearing that's taking place this evening. There are a number of proposals that impact the rates. Those are things that the board will be looking very closely at in the coming weeks. So we don't know for certain right now what the end result will be. It's very much contingent on public input. So I would encourage you, if you have thoughts about potential rate increases, to please share your opinions with us.
I will say, Dottie, that one thing that has been floated is that the later hours might be on a rush hour schedule, so it will be a slightly higher price. But I don't think that is the general manager's proposal, but that has been one thing that has been floated as a counter proposal to the general manager's budget.
It seems like it might hit the people we're trying to help the most, which are the workers who
You got it. You got it. You got it. Okay, yes.
For late night, when we have more people traveling in those 12 o'clock, 1 a.m. hours, let's just say, will there be extra security or any kind of protections during those late night hour?
I think Metro plans to maintain a robust security presence as it does on all of its service. Yes.
What's your position on rush hour rates for late night service?
I think that actually we're still taking in input. We maintain that the general manager's budget is something that we could accept as it relates to late night service at this point. All right. Thank you, everybody.